we charge them all these different things out there. And so you don't really know what that is. And then the hospital has hired a bunch of people to make sure that they get their payment from the government. Before they can get their payment from the government, they have to meet this criteria, this criteria, this criteria, and this criteria. So there's all these folks running around out there that are compliance officers, and it is bureaucracy after bureaucracy that are hired, and they're basically, and then there's the insurance company that's there, and the insurance company's gonna make 10%. If you want this policy, the insurance company will write you a policy for this. If you want this policy, they'll write you an insurance policy for this. I mean, they're gonna put 10% on top of whatever it is. They're insurance companies are not the bad guys. Insurance companies mitigate risk. That's all they do. And they'll mitigate a little risk or a big risk. And that's why Obamacare comes in. And you could buy a policy that was this. And Obamacare comes in and says, listen, you've got to have mental health care in it. You've got to have OB health care in there. You've got to have abortions in there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they're adding in that you have to cover. And a lot of people, that are, beyond reproductive age, they don't want to pay for child care. I mean, they don't need to. But they're having to. Because Obamacare says if you don't meet this criteria, this minimum criteria, we're not gonna, you don't have adequate health insurance and we're gonna fine you for it. And so that's where Obamacare stepped in. That's why it costs more instead of less, because you're insuring more. And so the insurance companies are gonna go, yeah, we'll be happy to write you a policy that covers all that stuff. We're gonna add about 10% to it, and it's gonna cost you more than if you have a policy that's this. And so the free market works, government doesn't. And so if we could move ourselves towards a more free market thing, we'd be in better shape. So have you found the price list for that?
I am. I don't say, there's not a, for the gallbladder, it's not on here unless it's general surgery.
General surgery, what's it, laparoscopic cholecystectomy maybe?
That's a big word. Can you say that again?
Say it again.
Laparoscopic cholecystectomy.
There it is. Don't test me on it.
That is a laparoscopic removal
Wow,
of your
you get a
gallbladder.
deal if you want to get rid of your gallbladder.
$4,200, something like that.
Wow.
58.65.
58, they raised the price on it, okay.
How much?
58.65.
Wow.
Which sounds like a lot, but let me put this in some perspective, okay? I recently went off of, when I'm no longer state representative, so I'm no longer getting my insurance paid for through the state. My COBRA, which is what you have to pay to keep yourself on the state insurance thing or whatever, it's about $2,000 a month. So in 3 months, I would have paid for the $6,000 for my surgery. And then so in the other 9 months of the year, I can take that money and put it towards a high deductible policy, health savings account, some other vehicle that I get to choose how I want to spend my money. But they're transparent in their prices. And I promise you, if you go, Medicare pays more than that. And so this particular place, they don't take Medicare. And the reason they don't take Medicare is they know they will be in trouble. I mean, they will be committed a federal crime, potentially go to jail for providing health care at a cost that's less than what they're charging Medicare. So the government is really in cahoots to keep this prices up. And so you can provide health care. I've been overseas. I've been in Tanzania and Kenya and Nigeria, and people paid cash for their stuff, and you can actually provide a pretty high level of health care for a fairly small price. You reuse stuff. I mean, people do everything they can. When you're having to pay cash, people will do everything they can to make the quality as high as they can and the price as low as they can, which is what we do when we're shopping for stuff. I saw something the other day, and there's like 4 quadrants of things, and this person, I can't remember who it was, said, if things are in this quadrant up here, if you're paying for it for yourself, you're going to look for the best quality and lowest price. If you're paying for it for somebody else, then you're going to look for the lowest price, maybe not necessarily the highest quality. If somebody else is paying it for you, they're going to look for the lowest price. Or if you're paying for it, if you're getting the care and somebody else is paying for it, you're going to look for the highest quality, and you're not going to care so much about the price. And if you're not doing either one of them, you're going to get low quality and low price. Government pays for low quality, low price. If you pay for your own money, the free market system is you're looking for highest quality, high price, the highest quality and the lowest price. And so we are never going to solve our problem as long as the government's in the middle. I mean, we're just not. And I don't know any other way to put it out there. Again, Ronald Reagan said, and I absolutely believe him, government is not the solution to the problem, government is the problem. And yes, ma'am.
I think one of the things that we haven't talked about, and government did it, is when they stepped in with this new drugs. They couldn't be generic for, 12 years? And everything you're seeing advertised on TV is a non-generic drug. I'm getting eye drops through Canada, from India. So you gotta know Canada's making money on it. It's $140 if I buy it at the local pharmacy. If I get it in through Canada from India, I'm paying $165 for 3 of them, so it's about a third of the price. And
That was somewhere in the ACA, okay? That was somewhere in the Affordable Care Act. Is government
did it, because they put the generic, non-generic.
They said that
in.
you can't, they can't bargain for price. They can't shop for price. And so they're willing to pay this because they don't bargain with them.
Well,
And they got that in there because they wanted the insurance people and they wanted the drug companies who have a lot of money to back it. And so, yeah, the consumer gets squeezed, but government gets their money, they get their bills passed, they keep control of the whole market, which is really what they want.
Well, government had no business getting involved in that pharmaceutical.
That, and by the way, that was George Bush. Okay, so that was a Republican. So, let me tell you, there's some serious issues in the Republican Party. And let me get to that real quick. You're laughing. There's some serious issues in the Republican Party, and one of the serious issues is this. Whenever you talk about, you know, and I am happy Trump won, I'm so happy he won, okay, I could just jump up, down, and scream. But, I'm so glad he won. But, somebody along the way gave him some really bad advice. Because he kept talking about, we're gonna repeal and replace, we're gonna repeal and replace, we're gonna repeal and replace. Okay? Did Ted Cruz ever say repeal and replace?
No.
Not a single time. I've heard him give this a similar speech often. He never said repeal and replace because no conservative would ever say, if you get rid of one big government program, you gotta replace it with another one. That does not happen. And so, and if you want perfect evidence of that, we can just look at what's gone on since Trump won. Before Trump won, here were the Republicans. They were all out there going, we're going to pass this repeal, we're going to pass a repeal, we're going to pass a repeal. And they passed repeals. And they sent it to the president for him to sign it, and the president did what? He vetoed it every time. And they knew he was going to veto it. And now they know if they send a repeal there, Trump will sign it. So have we sent a repeal there? No, absolutely not. We haven't sent a repeal there. So there may have been some people that wanted to, but nobody has sent one. So we had all these guys with all this machismo, hey, we're going to get rid of Obamacare, we're going to get rid of it, we're going to get rid of it, we're going to repeal all of it. And, you know, we sent it to him, it's all Obama's fault. And now that the Republicans are in charge, we haven't sent one out. So that's the real problem. So the Republicans got a real problem on their hand. Yes, sir.
My Cruz bumper sticker still says, it's like 5 years old, defund Obamacare.
Yeah. And he's never said that. I've seen Cruz speak on several occasions, and every time he says, we're going to repeal it, we're going to repeal every last word of it. Isn't that what he says? We're going to repeal every last word of Obama. And so, and I'm going to go, I'm not sure he's going far enough. I'm with repealing every bit of it, don't get me wrong. But I really think you got to go back and start repealing some other stuff. Start repealing
It's the
these.
other Reagan quote.
Which
after
one?
After you take half the loaf, that doesn't mean that's all you take. Then you go back and you take the other half.
That's probably true too. I'll give you a Jerry Clower quote. Anybody know who Jerry Clower is? Okay. Jerry Clower is this old country guy. He sold fertilizer and he told these long stories and they were funny. And he was a comedian and he was also a Southern Baptist preacher and he sold fertilizer. The artificial kind, not the kind that comes out of a cow's rear end. But Jerry Clower would compare, he said, this is what government spending is like. He said, you take a needle, you put it in your arm, you take a pint of blood out of there, he said, and then you take that pint, you pour half of it out, and you put the other half back in this arm. And then you tell people, hey, I gave you a half a pint of blood. And so, I mean, you're actually net negative a half pint of blood. But, you know, they don't ever talk about the blood they're taking out of this arm. They keep saying, oh, no, you can't live without this half pint we gave you. It was like, well, why don't you take a whole pint out of this arm, just give me half. So, and that's exactly what happens. And Cruz would say that. You know, I mean, we take up all this money in taxes. We waste a ton of it. I mean, at minimum, 10% of everything that the federal government, state government touch goes just wasted. And so when you're talking trillions of dollars, you're talking billions of dollars of waste. And there's a lot of folks that are making money off that waste, and those folks don't want it to change.
You mean the educational people?
That happens too. I'll tell you, the same thing has happened in medicine. In medicine, we spend more per capita than any other country in the world on medicine. We do. We spend a ton of it. And you look at our infant mortality rates, and you can look at any measure you want to look at, we're middle of the road when you start. Same thing with